Hi, my name is Patrick Kuchio, the head of missions at Christ is the Answer Ministries, CITAM. What does God's blessing look like? And why does God bless someone in the first place? Please stay in tune with us as we have this conversation drawn from the life of Abraham. What does God's blessing look like? And why does God bless in the first place? Now, God appeared to our forefather Abraham and spoke to him and told him in Genesis chapter 12 to leave his country, to leave his people, his father's household, and to go to a land that God would show him. Now, what followed was very interesting. God said to him, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. All the peoples on the earth will be blessed through you. Some Bible scholars and theologians have called this the Abrahamic covenant that was initiated by God. Abraham didn't initiate this covenant. It is God who initiated it. It is very interesting to find that God is determined to bless his people. But what does his blessing look like? The blessing of God is about walking in his perfect will. Every other thing that comes with walking in God's perfect will are but additions. You see, there are times we confuse the blessing of God for the tangible. It is true that God's blessing can manifest in the intangible and the tangible, in the material and in the material, in the visible and the invisible. But the blessing of God comes our way when we walk in the center of God's will. God wanted to bless Abraham, but the first thing he wanted Abraham to do was to move from his father's home country, abandon his father's household, his father's people, to go to a land that God was going to show him. And this time Abraham was about 75 years old. See, there was something about Abraham's background. He came from a very idolatrous background where his people worshipped other gods. And God knew that there was no way his blessing would come over Abraham for as long as he remained in that defiled environment. And God tells him, I'm going to bless you, but I want you to move from this environment first and foremost. I want you to be in the center of my will, because therein you will find my blessing. It is very interesting when God wanted to feed his servant Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19. At a time when there was famine, God spoke to Elijah and told Elijah to go to a land in Zarephath, to a house of a widow, and that there God would provide for him, that there God would bless him. It is in Zarephath that Elijah was provided for. It is in Zarephath that Elijah was protected from King Ahab and the queen Jezebel. It is at Zarephath that Elijah experienced the power of God when he raised the widow's son back to life. Elijah was in the heart of God's blessing. The provision that followed was an add-on. The protection that followed was an add-on. The power he experienced was an add-on. But the blessing of God was resident in him being in the center of God's will. So what does God's blessing look like? The blessing of God looks like you being in the heart of God's will. When you're in the heart of God's will, every other manifestation, be it material or immaterial, visible or invisible, tangible or intangible, are but add-ons. That is the blessing of God. However, why does God bless people? God speaks to Abraham and tells Abraham, I will bless you that it may be a blessing. God's blessing was designed and determined to influence and to bless not just ourselves, the recipients, but others as well. God designed us to be channels of His blessing. God designed us to be tributaries of His blessing. For as long as you are not cooperating to be a channel or a tributary of God's blessing, you probably might wait a long while to experience God's blessing. But provided your heart and mind is cooperating with God to be a channel and a tributary of God's blessing, God has absolutely no problem in trusting with His blessing, because the ultimate end of God's blessing is not your joy, is not your happiness, is not your wealth, is not your prosperity, but the ultimate end of God's blessing is that others too may be blessed. God tells Abraham, I will bless you and I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Did this happen? Yes, it happened. You find that his children, particularly his son of promise, Isaac, and the descendants that followed, they were blessed people. They were blessed with resources. They were blessed with tangibles, but they were also blessed with lots of peace and protection from war. The Jews are descendants of Abraham. Jesus Christ is descendant of Abraham. We who are followers of Jesus Christ are spiritual descendants of Abraham. The nations of the world, including Gentiles, are now blessed because of one man, Abraham. He was willing to cooperate with God as a channel and a tributary of God's blessing. This is the reason why God blesses people. My prayer is that you will be a faithful steward of the blessing that God brings your way, whether it be a tangible blessing or non-tangible blessing, whether it be a visible blessing or an invisible blessing. Whatever kind of blessing that God brings your way, may God help you to be a faithful steward to bless others. Let's keep this conversation going on CITAM Church Online, the Youth Cafe. My name is Patrick Kuchio. The Lord bless you richly. Please get in touch with us on our social media platforms. We'd like to know more from you as we engage on this discussion, the life God blesses. God bless you.